MYMP News, the real world, the real you.
Anything is possible.
It's going down.
Hi, I'm Chelsea.
I'm Olivia.
I'm Carol.
I'm Dolores.
And we are the Youth Media Program. We are here with Miss Mfoniso, the lovely playwright of the Grove. And we just have a few questions for her. The first one is, what inspired you to become a writer?
What inspired me to become a writer? Well, I was in New York City, and I'm also an actress, and so there weren't a lot of acting roles coming to me, and I wanted to remain creative. And it was also, I wrote The Grove at a very interesting point in my life where I was going through a lot of ripping, tearing, holy, just exposure and stuff, so I needed writing as an outlet for myself. Not only was I not getting acting jobs, I was also personally going through something in my life which demanded I write. And that's when I started. The Grove was the first play I ever wrote. I started writing when I was little, but I used to do mostly spoken word poetry. And The Grove helped me to heal and then also chronicle the story for girls like me, women like me who are of a certain age, who are character actors who aren't working yet, hopefully to give some work to my friends. So that's a long, convoluted answer to say I started writing out of a necessity, writing plays out of necessity. I've been writing those since I was younger. And The Grove, which you all are going to see and a lot of you are participating in, was the first thing I ever wrote.
What do you love about what you do?
What do you mean, what do I do? Writing or the other aspects of art that I do? Well, for me, writing, I actually love, there's a part of me that loves the control of it. To be able to write exactly what I want and not think about parameters is so different from an actor who's, you know, at somebody else's whim sometimes. So I love that about writing. And then I also love the exposure of writing because it helps you to see people that you don't usually see. So whenever I'm writing, it's usually to blow open a part of my world that is not exposed. And I love that. It's risky. It's my pen. Nobody's controlling it, so I get to decide what is right and what is wrong. And it's also somehow soothing in the middle of the day. So that's why.
What do you want people to take away from those scenes?
Good question. I want people to see the Africa that I see. A lot of the times when we talk about Africa, we talk about it continental. So we're watching plays that are occurring on or in Nigeria or in some part of Africa, and it kind of feels like we're spectators watching something that's at arm's length away, when the Africa that I know is continental and is also radically American as well. So there are Africans here. They are everywhere. They are a part of our diaspora, and for some reason in the land of plays, we haven't fully embraced Africans in America. And so what I would love is to give a face to what I know of as Africa here. And so I would love for people to take that. I would also love people to understand in this day and age where, especially in America, where identity is something that we grapple with at a young age and we figure out, and we're learning the political way to accept everything, that there are enclaves of groups of people who are also in a very real struggle with what is Americanness and what is their otherness and how that rubs up against each other. And so I would love people to see that there, for something that we think is easy, for another group is not. Yeah, that's what I would like people to take away. And also the fierceness of some of these African women and men. There is a fierceness, I think, in our culture. And when we think of Africa, we're either thinking of it as Cinderella or tribal war. These are very educated Africans with a real strong backbone, whether they're all there or everywhere. Every one of them is fierce.
What do you like about yourself?
What do I like about myself?
Yeah.
So should I make a list? Go ahead. Because I can make a list. I've learned to love myself. It's not easy. I would say that even 3 years ago, a question like that, I would have given a very simple answer to, oh, I love my hair. Done. No, I've learned to love the fact that my accent, I've taken from my mother and father, and I have a little list that people try to get rid of in me, but I've learned that it's an accent, that Ibibios have a bladed tongue, and I have a lisp, and I got that from my mom and my dad. I have learned to love the fact that in my culture and the way I was made and my ancestral line, we are thicker, and it's taken me a long time to love that, because here in America, thickness is not revered. I love this complexion of mine, as I was telling you. I think it's a gift from God. I love the fact that I'm smart. I've learned to isolate things that I love, and even those things that aren't readily accessible, I'm training myself to love them. Yeah, that's what I love, the superficial and the deep.
So what struggles, complications, and or setbacks have you experienced when you were coming up as a writer?
Complications. Well, I mix forms in my writing. So there is spoken word and there's prose. And sometimes it's hard for people to grapple with two different mediums. And so when I'm giving it to people to read, sometimes it feels like, what are you doing? How are you writing? But I think they fit. Mm-hmm. And there's something in me that thinks it works. And I'm not ready to let it go yet. So that sometimes is a complication. And then also, I started off as an actress. And in New York City, I think that's the first way I was introduced. And I was an actress who then started to write. So the change in form and medium is hard sometimes. I didn't have the networks in place, and in this day and age, it's hard to even get your play read. You know what I mean? Like, any artist has these things. You can paint a beautiful picture, but then how do you have people come and see it? You know, so I've worked a lot with Soul Productions and Aaron Washington, who you all will meet, who's been a great vocal mouthpiece for my work, and through just sheer knocking down bricks and prayers to God, that's how the play has been seen. But it was a huge, huge thing, you know. And in this field, you're going up against people who are really, really established. So how you make your voice heard when you've got thousands of other plays around you?
So to get into talking about the Grove, okay, to be honest, there's a restaurant across the street, and it's called the Grove, right? And so yesterday I was talking with one of my colleagues, and her name is Wendy, and we were saying, she was like, I thought it was just a restaurant. And I was like, I know it has something to do with grass. And so we were like really trying to figure out what is a grove, and then we asked Missy True. She told us, but then I was like, what does it have to do like with the way you name the place? I want to know, could you tell us what a grove is and why you chose the Grove as a name of the play?
Well, at first the play was called Verses. When I named the play, verses mean poetry, and I just hated it. I couldn't stand it. And then I was like, what is this play about? It's about a group of people who have a real link to their history and have all been kind of growing in the same way. So when you think of it like an orange grove. It's all orange trees. They're usually around the same height. They're all producing the same fruit. You walk into an orange grove, you smell oranges, you know you're gonna feel an orange, you know that. And that's what this is about. It's about a cluster. It's about a family. And that's also why there is one poem in The Grove that talks about it and describes one of the characters as a worm who comes in to destroy the grove. And that's what that poem is about. What happens when outsiders come into something that is so uniform and so, or seemingly so together. So yeah, that's why I called it The Grove. It's the family.
I would like to thank you for coming, Miss Mfoniso, and it's been very informative, and I love your work.
Thank you.
So
We're really
please,
excited.
people, check her out.
I'm really excited.
And come check out the kids too, y'all. Love.
Love.